Hello, world. Welcome to Queering Science, Theology, Philosophy, and Spirituality. This is the Center for the LGBTQ Center for Science, Theology, Philosophy, and Spirituality, discussing science, theology, philosophy, and spirituality with an LGBTQ perspective. And people always ask, we will keep on saying it. LGBTQ people are also children of God. They are children of the cosmic powers that be. Yes, because God is in all of us and we are all in God. And I'm going to do another video one day about language. Who said God is called God? Indians call God Vishnu and very many other names. In fact, polytheism is not different from monotheism. They are one and the same. Reason? In polytheism, there are many gods. But you should ask yourself, where do all these gods get their power? They get their power from one source, even if that source has very many gods. Then in monotheism, there is one God, and he gets his power from a source. Because who is a God? A God is a being who has power. That's why we are gods. It's just that we are not powerful. We can't defeat death. Yes. The day we defeat death, we will become powerful gods. Humans defeat death through diseases. Medicine. When you take medicine and you don't die because you're taking the medicine, that is a sign that human beings have power. That's why medicine is power. Yes, it is power to fight disease, power to cure. Now, the so what do you not understand about that is that who is God? Nobody knows. Like in the other video I think it's on Rex Arthur. Who is God? What is it? What is it? Nobody knows. I'm telling you, nobody knows. Nobody. Till today, in the millions of years humans have existed on the earth, well, 200,000 years to be precise, no human being has told us who God is properly. Jesus even said God is a spirit and he has no flesh and bones. But Moses said he saw his back. So who is telling the truth? You see? So nobody knows. And even if God is a spirit, who created that spirit? How did that spirit start? You see, those are the questions religion answers. So because nobody can answer those questions, nobody can claim his religion is the best and is the truth. Nobody. Please put that in your head. Do you know the reason why people are very religious? It is because we are naturally like staying with our kind. Do you know racism is natural? Yes. Homophobia is learned, but when you know what gay people do in private and you're not gay, you can be homophobic. So there's this discussion in the LGBT community that homophobia is what? Is learned. I don't agree with it. It is both learned and is both natural. That is my view. it is natural for humans to hate something they don't understand or something they don't want. That's how it's natural for human beings to hate. That's what I'm saying. Racism, in fact, racism is the worst form of hate because it's very natural. Yes. What do I mean by natural? When a person sees a white person and he's black, unconsciously they are affected because they are used to living with black people. So they wonder, what is this thing I'm seeing or this person? So what happens? The brain, you have to study the brain. It has the amygdala, and that's the seat of fear and flight and fight. So when you see a strange thing, the amygdala is triggered and it can cause you to either to fear that thing you've seen, and then if you fear it so much you even run away from it, and then if you don't fear and you don't run away, you fight it. But they should be, have you noticed, that's the amygdala, but the other parts of the brain also work when you see that thing. So the conscious parts of the brain and reasoning, you'll say, okay, this is a white person because you've learned in school that such people are called white. And then you've also been taught a white person is a human being. So you won't panic, and you won't fight, and you won't flee, and you won't fear. And you won't fear. So that's what you need to understand. That understanding of a white person from a black person comes with learning. So you have to have a repeated habit of seeing a white person and knowing, oh, he's a white guy. Okay, he's a human like me. Okay, so we'll go. So the more you have those relations with white people, you'll realize they are just human beings like you, and you won't be racist. But racism is for the mind that has not been exposed to that person for a long time. And so what happens? The person behaves like an animal. We are animals. Yes, we are animals. Animals are the most racist beings. Yes, the most racist being is an animal. It's not a human being. Why? They don't have cognition, high cognition. They don't have high reasoning. You see, it's reasoning that makes you not a racist. You see, if you reason that is a snake, but I have a gun, you won't your amygdala is down. It won't come on because the amygdala is a very dangerous part in the brain. When it comes on, bah, your body immediately reacts. And in all animals they have that trigger when they meet something strange, because we are all wired that a strange thing is dangerous to you. That's what our unconsciousness says. Anything strange is bad for you. So that's why when you go to a porcupine and you try and get close to it, you don't want to kill it. You just want to touch it. It immediately releases its quills. It's not having negotiation with you. You're a bad person. Because anytime you get close to it, it will react. That's what happens with the porcupine. And then look at the wildebeest. You don't want to kill it. You just want to say hi. And immediately you go for the wildebeest. The wildebeest starts running. Look at chicken. They don't even have a brain our size. But The moment you want to go and get the chicken, they run. It's because naturally all animals are wired to avoid anyone that is not like it. And that's how human beings are also wired. We like staying with people who are like us. That's why human beings are homogeneous. What do I mean by homogeneous? Men like staying with men. Women like staying with women. Why? Because men are not women. So, when you find men and women together, it is that they can reason. They can reason. They know this is a woman. So, I know how to handle myself when I'm with a woman. And I know what I want from her. And the woman will say, this is a man. I know what I need from him. And I know how to reason with him. So, that's how you do it. So homogeneity is very natural. That's why homosexuality is natural, because men men stay with men, and in the process there are some men who are attracted to men. That's why be careful about homogeneity, the link between homogeneity, homosociality, and homosexuality. They are really not the same. You can be a group of men, but they are homophobic. Reason being, because a homosexual man is not a heterosexual man. He doesn't think like a homosexual man doesn't think like a heterosexual man. So imagine two men find themselves in a room. One is heterosexual, the other one is homosexual. Then this room has one bed. These homophobes are coming here. I'm going to answer him. Then these two men sleep in one bed, on one bed. Now the homosexual is very happy to be in the bed with a heterosexual man. So he does what he wants with him, enjoys him. And the heterosexual man, because he's heterosexual, is not happy, because that's not how he relates sexually. So they can even end up fighting. Yes, they can end up fighting because one is attracted to men, the other one is attracted to women. So his psychosexuality is very different from that guy. So this is why gay people, we use applications to make friends. We use social media to get a friend, because if you're gay, just walk out. There are so many men. Pick them, take him and tell him, hey, I want to have sex with you. You'll see the response. Yes, it's because not every man is homosexual. Yeah, that's what you need to understand. That's why people, when you tell them you're gay, they will say, there's this person who is coming and interrupting. Joe, come and explain why homosexuality is. What has he said? Let me see what he said. So can you explain why the Bible says homosexuality is a sin and why you think it's okay? So the Bible in a much not late. This is old news. I'm not going to talk much about it, Joe. Joe, you got to understand that. No, that's what I'm saying. Have you heard what I've said, Joe? I've told you. He's asking. Now, Joe is saying, should they lay in one bed? Yes, men can share beds. Women can share beds. Yes, they can. But it doesn't mean they're homosexual. Because a man, you can share a bed with a man who is heterosexual. So, is that a sin to share a bed? No, it's not a sin. And neither is homosexuality a sin. Now, that's the mistake Joe is making. Now, why did the Bible say homosexuality was a sin? It was because it was being practiced by the other nations around, and not around Israel, Remember, the law was not written in Israel. The law was written in Saudi Arabia, on Mount Sinai. Yes. The law was not written in Israel. So, it was written in Saudi Arabia, in Mount Sinai. That's where they got the law. And so what does that mean? Where did Moses know homosexuality was happening? It was in Egypt, in Africa, where they were enslaved. Another place, even if you read that law very critically, there is a mistake. Because you'd ask yourself, where did they write that law? Because the Bible says, when you read the story, the fact of the sins, of the sexual sins, there's a mention of don't do what the nations do. There was a mention of don't sell your daughter, don't make your daughter a whore, and don't let your child to be a dog, and that was male prostitutes, because the girls and the boys were male prostitutes. So what does that tell you? If they were dogs, if boys and girls were being sold for sex, that tells you homosexuality was part of their life in the world at that time. And it was rampant. Because when something is not rampant, you don't write about it. You always write about what you know and what you've seen. And that's what Moses wrote. Now, what I am going to question, but I won't do it today, I want to go and read back those laws and question. Because remember, this law was not written in Egypt. It was written when they left Egypt. It was written in Saudi Arabia, because I believe that Mount Sinai is in Saudi Arabia. It's not in the Sinai Peninsula. There is no way. How could Israel be in the Sinai Peninsula? It's just 3 days, not even 3 days, to reach Israel. Why did they have to stay in the Sinai Peninsula for 40 years? They had to have gone somewhere far, and they have found the mountain to be in Saudi Arabia. So, that's my take, Joe. And secondly, it was called, the reason why homosexuality was called a sin, in Israel, sin was a crime. Israel was a theocracy, even when it was in the desert. Theocracies call crime a sin. That is why the Canaanite religion legalized homosexuality. And Canaan is the land of Israel. Egypt had homosexuality. That is why it was not criminalized. There is no law criminalizing homosexuality in in Egypt. And the Canaanite religion legalized homosexuality, meaning it was not a sin. In fact, it was holy. And the name for homosexual in the Bible is Kadesh, which means a temple worker. Because in those days, sex was holy. Yes, sex was holy. It was sacred. So, whenever you have sex, it was offered to the Lord, to God. It was a sacrifice. When you had sex, it is the gods demanding. So that's what you need to understand about homosexuality. It is not a sin. Okay, so this friend of mine, well, he's a homophobe, has come in here, so he changed the topic. Maybe he's not a homophobe, but I was to discuss something else, but I'll discuss it after this. And he's here writing, but the Bible says openly to slay people. The Old Testament is brutal. Wars and murders promoted by the Old Testament. Yeah, you see, I don't think he's a homophobe. Yes, that's what, because I started reading his things. I think he's anti-Bible. Wars and murders are promoted by the Old Testament, but homosexuality is not. I'm not trying to derail. I know you're not trying to derail my topics. Yes, you are allowed to ask me questions, and that's what I'm doing. I'm answering you. And the wars and murders have been why have wars and murders been promoted by the Old Testament? And I've told you this topic I started was to discuss. I was discussing the animalistic nature of human beings. Do you know war is natural to fight? Human beings have a natural tendency to fight, especially males. Very high tendency to fight because of testosterone. It's not even the fault of a man. Don't blame men that they just, no, it's testosterone that makes them want to fight. That hormone is like that. Yes, you're welcome, Joe. I know you have very many questions. You're welcome to ask. This is the Center for Education in Spirituality and Religion. It's a very important. I'm reading a very beautiful good book. Excuse me, the treatise too on the gods. Beautiful, beautiful book by Mencken, H.L. Mencken, and he's talking about how religion came about, and that's my question forever. Ever since I've been a kid, and I knew religion, I always question because it controls our lives. It controls our philosophy, our mindset, our beliefs, our conception. You see, people are homophobic because of religion. Yes, it's not because of anything else. Because even if we are naturally fearing someone who is gay, if you are fed with science, you will not be homophobic. But if you are fed with homophobic religion, because not all religions are homophobic, that's what you also need to understand. There is a very dangerous notion to attack religion because most of the religions we have interacted with are homophobic. But that's not the case. Hinduism is not homophobic, and it's the third largest religion in the world. So, what does that mean? When you go to India, they really don't, it's not in their mind to attack gay people. Yes, so that's what you need to understand. And now Joe Carmel is asking, is religion man-made? Yes, religion is man-made. What is not man-made is the thing religion worships, is power, cosmic power. Yes, religion is man-made, but what is not man-made is the object of religion, which is God. And who said he's God? You know, Joe, you're saying it's God. Is his name God? Is his name God? His name is not God. We don't know. We've called him. We gave that name God. We don't know even if it's a him. What if you find it's a big woman in the sky? Yes, the fact that he has many names, that's what I'm telling you, Joe. The fact that God has many names Joe is saying that God has many names. And I said the fact, and I'm saying the fact that God has many names means means that that religion is polytheistic. Yes, he has many personalities. One time he's mighty, the other time he's peaceful, the other time he's righteous, the other time he's a man of war. You see, those are personalities, and that is polytheism. We are no different from Hindus who worship the god, the destroying god, the god of creation, the god of knowledge, the god of fertility. In polytheistic religions, they split those personalities and give each personality a name of a god. But in monotheistic religions, they have poly, multifaceted personalities, polypersonalities. So instead of having many gods, they have God, one God with many personalities. But in polytheism, those personalities, each personality is given the name of a god or a goddess. And that's what, but basically, there is no different. They are just the same things. Good, you understand. So that's what you understand. Okay, keep on asking questions, Joe, as we go on. So we are saying that um, human beings, we are naturally animals. And because of that, we are naturally inclined to hate something different from us. Then I've told you that homogeneity is not homosexuality and is not homosociality. Homogeneity means to be of the same kind. Now, when you're of the same kind and you stay together, you become homosocial. So, when you see a group of men together, always, every time they are together, that's homosociality. Then, but it doesn't mean they're homosexual. Now, in the same group of men, a few men are attracted to each other. Few men. They look at each other and they want to sleep with each other. They make passes. The way a man makes a pass to a woman, they make passes. Few, not many. So what happens after meeting in that bar of very many men, two of these men, they make passes to each other, then they say, let's go and meet somewhere. And they go and meet somewhere and they have sex. Those are homosexual men. But in that group of men, some are heterosexual. They don't have sex with men. But they can interact with homosexual men because they are men. You see, it is they are men. So that's why you can sit in the bar, you can talk to a man, he's heterosexual, you're homosexual, you talk, you discuss, you make deals with each other. But when it comes to sex, you go and have sex with your fellow man, and he goes to have sex with his woman. And that's how you live. So what am I trying to say? That homosexuality is natural, but not all men are homosexual. But men are homogeneous, just like are homogeneous, just like women. Now you've said something about humans and animals. Let's see. Humans are animals. Your desires consume you. But isn't this sin? Is it not the same thing as having sex before marriage? You see, that's what I want you to understand, Joe. You have to really understand this. Religion is man-made. There are some religions that allow you to have sex before marriage. It's not a sin. Yes. There are some religions that allow you to have sex before marriage. It's not a sin. Other religions say sex before marriage is a sin. So, what does this mean? It means that your religions are subjective. Religions have different views. Some religions don't want sex before marriage, others, it's not a sin. So, I think your religion, Joe, is a religion that doesn't value sex before marriage. Go to India. You see, that's why there's a lot of child prostitution. It's because the religions of those countries allowed people to have sex before marriage. Yes, that's what you need to understand. And that's why it's a cultural war for thousands of years. In fact, do you know why there are cultural wars? Christianity and Islam came to the world. Yes, I thank you, Joe. Yes, I don't have a religion. I'm trying to find God in a world of chaos. Congratulations, keep on. But you don't need to find him, he's there. It's there. She's there. They are there, you know. And it's just there. Just read, study all religions, and for me, I promote uh, interfaith Christianity, a Christianity that is universal and accepts every religion. Yes, that's what because all religions are looking for the same thing you are looking for as a Christian. And that's why I don't attack Muslims. Yes, because they pray to the same power like me. I can go to a mosque. Yes, I can go. I can go to a Hindu temple. Who is going to stop me? I've come to pray. But in the eyes of human beings, it's like, but you're not a Hindu. You see? So what does that tell you? Religion is man-made. Because imagine you are one human being and you go to the Sahara Desert and there's a temple and it's time to pray. It's a Hindu temple. There is no human being and you enter. Who is going to judge you that you're not a Hindu? Nobody. Nobody will judge you. But the moment there are people around the temple and then you enter and they know you're not a Hindu, they'll stop you and say, "Excuse me, are you a Hindu? Are you out of your mind? You're not supposed to be here." You see, reason? Religion is man-made. Meaning the judges of religion are men, are human beings. It's not the power. Yes. So that's what you need to understand. So basically, and why I like Christianity is the grace and the issue of sacrifice. Jesus Christ gave his life for everybody forever. And that's a very important story because he died for your faults and your mistakes. Yes. So there is no way you're not going to pay. That's why I don't even believe in judgment day. Why? Jesus paid for me. Yes. He paid it. If someone tells me you sinned, I just say go and see Jesus. Yes, go and see him. He died. He died. All right. So back to we want to finish this discussion of animalistic because it's very important. So homophobia is learned, but it's also natural. Reason being, we fear people we don't know. Animals fear, and we also fear, and we don't like people who are not like us. And then and animals also don't like animals that don't look like them. Are you seeing the dog and the cat? Why do we have domesticated animals? These are animals which are trained to live with human beings. And of all the animals, the dog is loved. That's why they said the dog is a man's best friend. Now, why is the dog called a man's best friend? It's not because he's just nice. No, it's because the dog fights for you. That is why he's the best friend. He fights. So when a thief comes for you or somebody and you're with the dog will bite that person. You see, that's a dog. It protects the owner. A cat is also friendly to the human being. It's even very soft and very petite, but it is what do you call it? The cat cannot fight. It can't fight like a dog. So when a thief comes, the cat will run away. So that's why it was not called the man's best friend. It is the dog that is a man's best friend. Now, so what was I trying to tell you? Those animals have been trained to live with human beings, but naturally they can't. So what does this mean? If you want people to live with you who are different from you, you train them. You educate them to understand, and this is a very loaded discussion. You have to really bear with the overtones. They sound like what? Yes, you have to understand. And for your information, even white people are animals. Yes. Yes, even white people are animals. It's weird. Yeah. And people say, but how can you call a human being an animal? We are all animals. We're just higher animals. And look at Jesus. He's called the Lamb of God. That's an animal. He's called the Lion of Judah. That's an animal. You see? in Egypt, they worshipped Apis, the bull. Why did you not go and stone them and tell them stop worshipping an animal? It's because animals are also spiritual. So just because you're an animal doesn't mean you're not spiritual. By the way, animals also have spirits. They also have a mind. It's just that it's not developed like ours. Yes. Some animals have very low spiritual content. Other animals are very, very high, spiritually high, like elephants. Remember when the tsunami happened? The animals left the beaches, the forests in the beaches, before it happened. It's because the elephant's ears are very good at picking the waves. There's a resonance they have. If you look at them, very big. So when they noticed their ears were sending a bad message that there is a very bad storm coming, so the elephants just started going up. They started moving up. And the human beings, because they don't have that sensory capacity to sense, they stayed at the beach. Go and watch the tsunami videos. People were at the beach. And when the tsunami hit the hotels, it was so ballistic, the human beings had no time to run away, but the animals already ran away. So that's what you need to understand. Now, so racism is natural. So why do I have to say that white people are animals also? It's because there was a sad teaching that because black people were it was very easy for you to domesticate a black, not all black people, the black people that were subjugated. Now, you're saying, can you please answer me why all religions? Okay, let me finish, then I'll come back to your question. Um, so the not all black people were slaves. Yes, in fact, um, no, I don't assume you're a racist, Joe. You're not a racist. I don't know you, so I've never had your views, so I can't call you a racist. It's as simple as that. I know everybody. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Listen up and hear me good. I'm talking about racism, hate. I'm basically talking about hate. Hate is natural. Yeah, it's human. In fact, it's harder for a human being to love. It's harder because to love takes consciousness. You have to reason. Hating, you don't need reasoning. You don't need it. So, back to blacks. Now, not all blacks were enslaved. In fact, the blacks in Africa enslaved some blacks because there were kingdoms. Every kingdom has servants. Every kingdom. So what happened? They went and they had servants. In fact, in some tribes in Africa, there were tribes, whole tribes that were known to be slaves for the ruling class. Whole tribes. That's why when the white slave traders came to Africa, and even the Arab slave traders, it was not very hard for them to get slaves from the kingdoms because the black kingdoms already had slaves. So when they came, they said, "Oh, you want slaves? Oh, we'll give them to you." So they would sell. And I have a feeling slaves were the largest population. The larger the population, the more enslaved you were. Because it was the small populations could have power to control these large populations. And well, I'm going to study about African slavery in African kingdoms and even write a book about that. So now what happened is when the white slave traders came, they carried the blacks to America and South America. So there was a very bad notion that a slave is just like an animal because they were chained, they never had clothes, they were just put in ship like animals. So that was the mistake. And because of religion, religion doesn't call you an animal. Yes, that's the problem. Religion doesn't call you an animal, but you are actually an animal. We are all animals. We are just higher animals. That's why our DNA, 99% is chimpanzee. The chimpanzees have 99% of our DNA. How do you know that? A chimpanzee has fingers. A chimpanzee has two eyes, like us. A chimpanzee has a nose with nostrils. So what does that mean? That's a sign that we are related to chimpanzees, very close relatives. Very. And that's why evolution is true. Yes. Dogs, they have eyes like us, nose, mouth, teeth. So if human beings, especially the religious ones, had seen that, they would not have called other human beings subhuman, because that's the name they gave slaves, that they are subhuman, so don't take care of them, don't teach them, and all of that. Now, and that was based on racism. Because, and what made slavery even more complicated in America than in Africa, what made slavery complicated in America than in Africa was the skin color. The slave master was white, the slave was black. In Africa, the slave master was black, the slave was black. And then in some African tribes, they could even look at the color shade or features, and that's how they would enslave you. It's as simple as that. So in Americas, slavery was more, what do you call it? It was so toxic because of the skin color. That's what I've told you. A lion, the slavery in Africa was like a lion enslaving a fellow lion. It's not so, I mean, the lion doesn't get so shocked because they know this person. He looks like me. But imagine a lion enslaving a goat. You know, the goat will say, "Excuse me, you can't enslave me. You don't even look like me." And that's what happened in America. And the black American slaves, when they realized that they were being oppressed by a human who is of a different skin color, it even intensified the war against each other. Look at Haiti. Haiti had a bloody revolution. So, okay, there are very many questions. We're going to answer them and then we will be done with the video. So, that's what you need to know. Racism is also natural. To kill racism, educate people about humanity. Human science. Yes, that's the only way. Secondly, tone down on religious education. It's what has messed up the thing. Now, Joe Camel is saying racism is not natural. What I mean by racism being natural, Joe, is people, when you look at someone of a different skin color, it can create an aversion. That's what you need to understand. 90% of the tribes in Africa fought the white missionaries that came. White missionaries were killed in Nigeria. Killed. Now, why were they killed? Is it because the tribes don't like Jesus? No. They didn't know who this was. Yes, they didn't know. You know, not all tribes in Africa have albinos. You know, the albino people are white-skinned Africans. So, not all tribes in Africa have albinos. So, when they saw a white person, they were like, these are strange aliens that have come to the land, kill them. And that's what they did. Did you see the story in CNN, on CNN 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago? The Chinese man, I think South Korean, who went to a South American primitive settlement, he went to preach the gospel. They killed him immediately. That's the aversion I'm saying. That's the racism I'm saying is natural. is that anybody who is strange to you, to your culture, you kill. So that natural aversion is built, it builds up into a concept. And so this different person now says, this guy, he's not he's not powerful. I'm more powerful than him. That ideology is based on the nature, the natural tendency to hate or to not to befriend someone who is different from you. That's the natural tendency. But it can be solved by education. Yes, that's what I'm saying. We're not saying that by us saying racism is natural, we are not saying that it's correct. We are saying that's why it's very hard to fight. It's very hard to fight racism because it is natural. Because it is natural. It's embedded in the psyche. Yes. And I'm going to do another video one day to show you that ideology, philosophy, religion is natural. It's not just supernatural, it's natural. Why? All religious ideas are stored in neurons. All ideas, they are stored in the brain, physical brain, called neurons, in units. Why do Okay, now, so I'll come back and listen and give you the question answer. Let me finish this. um so sorry, I know. No, religions are not evil. it's it's very hard to explain. It's very The world is an is we can't understand the world. No. I'll answer you. Let me finish. So all of these ideas, even uh, racism, homophobia, they become natural because they are stored in the brain, which is a natural entity. So, how do you fight racism and homophobia? You educate, and you really educate people. Educate them, and that's what's happening in the West. Yes, it's brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant thing the West is doing. They're educating children about LGBTQ issues. And I support it 100% with my legs and hands up. Because when you educate people about sexuality, they know themselves. Because children know they are gay. Yes. They just don't know what it's called. Yes. They just know. A child knows he's gay. You see, people, that's why conversion therapy is sickness, is by quacks. A very clever doctor will never do conversion therapy because it's impossible. Psychosexuality is so complicated. So complicated. You mess up somebody when you take him to conversion therapy. I'm telling you the truth 100%. Don't you dare take any gay person to conversion therapy. Take him to LGBTQ counseling. Counselors that are LGBTQ, because they have to understand what an LGBTQ person goes through. Yes. Otherwise, if you take them to a counselor who is not LGBTQ, they will not understand them. Can you imagine taking a goat to a lion for counseling? Yes, it's madness. You cannot take a goat for counseling to a lion. You take a goat for counseling to a goat because the goat understands what the goat is going through. That's why I support LGBTQ churches, because the pastors are gay, the pastors are lesbians, the pastors are bisexual, the pastors are transgender. So when there's an issue that comes up in the church, it's very easy for the gay pastor to understand. So you have to understand that it's I. That's why I am in religion. As a gay person, I'm in religion because I can understand what a gay person goes through when he comes into contact with religion. Because I'm gay and I am religious. I have faith. That's what that's what you need to understand. All right. So and that's why I support the LGBTQ affirming churches. They should be there, very many. And in fact, guess what's going to happen? We're going to have LGBTQ psychologists, psychiatrists. They are coming out of the closet. The professionals are coming out of the closet. Yes, they've been hiding for too long, and it's hurting. It is hurting the LGBT community. You know, the community may think, nah, it's not hurting. It's hurting. People are committing suicide. Suicide is highest amongst LGBTQ persons. Not assisted suicide, suicide. That's what you need to understand. So what do? You find out the reason why people are committing suicide. One of the reasons is education. They were told they were bad people. They were told they were sinners. They were told they were criminals. That is dangerous to a human being. Because he becomes neurotic, he becomes psychotic. Whenever he thinks of sex, they don't, even when they have sex, they may not enjoy it. Yes, because they feel like I'm committing a sin. That was the problem of religion. That's why we are working hard to reform religion, one way through educating people with science. All right, now let's go to questions, then we can finish the video. So why do religions kill each other if we are all seeking the same thing? Makes no sense. Religions are evil. Religion is not spiritual. Going to church will not give you to heaven. So Joe Camel is saying, why do religions kill each other? It's because of what we are discussing today. People are naturally inclined to attack people that are different from them. It is natural. It is animalistic. Yes. A Muslim will fight a Christian because a Christian is different from a Muslim. Are you seeing why there is war in Israel? Is because they are surrounded by people who have a different religion from theirs. It's that simple. Do you know? Do you know? Um, do you know? I'm answering your question. That if Palestine had a religion that respected Israel, Israel would not fight Palestine. In fact, they will give them land. But because the religion of the Palestinians is a religion that says attack people of the book, that is the Bible, which is Jews and Christians. The hatred is based on religion, what it has said. It's not based on science, it's based on religion. So if you take away the religion, there is no reason to fight. So that's what you need to understand about Israel. And I've told you, religion is so natural. It's natural. Please don't think that you'll solve Israel's problems today. As long as the religion remains the way it is, it will be like that. You see, peace process, that is conscious solution over conscious. Animals are not conscious like us. We are very super conscious. What do I mean by conscious? You are aware that if we fight each other, we will die. None of us will stay. So you sit down and have a meeting. So let me answer the questions. Okay. He said, is religion not evil? No. Some religions are evil. Some religions are not evil. Secondly, evil is relative. That is the saddest statement, but it's the reality. Yes, it's the saddest statement ever, but it's the reality. Evil is relative. So what someone calls evil, another person will not call evil. Yes, that's what you need to understand. And but generally, religion is not evil, because not all religions are evil. Go do Hinduism or Buddhism. Very beautiful. Meditate, take yourself to another world. Go and do Sufi Islam. Just sing, dance, get lost, get ecstatic, you know. Go to Christianity. They sing songs, they lift their hands. You see? So there are some aspects in religion that are very nice. They are calming to the mind. But now, when religion becomes political, that's when now it gets bloody. Yes. And for me, I prefer sexual religions. That people have sex. I prefer them to anti-sexual ones. Yes. Because the anti-sexual religions, like Christianity and Islam, yes, they are they discourage human beings from having sex. Yes, they discourage, and it's not all of Christianity or all of Islam. That's what I'm trying to make you understand. Come out from the behavior of generalization. Yes, pick to solve a problem. Be specific. Be specific. Don't be general that all men are like this, all women are like this. No, that is generalization. Be specific. Find the real problem and solve it. That's how you solve a problem. So it's not that Christianity is anti-sexual. There are Christians who have sex profusely. There are Muslims who have sex profusely. There are gay Christians. They go drink, have fun, then they pray. Yeah, they are gay Muslims. So, what does that mean? That they are not anti-sexual just because they are Christian. It's just that they're in a religion where majority of the people can be anti-sexual. That's the problem. And in Islam, majority of the people are anti-sexual, because if you truly are sexual, then you will not stone people. You will not uh, give lashes on the backs of people. Yes, it's madness. What's happening in Brunei? The ICC should create that. That's a crime of humanity. Any country that makes a law that calls for the killing of a human being because of who he is, that country has committed a war crime. Not a war crime, a crime against humanity. Yes, a crime. Brunei should be sued at the ICC. And in fact, the international criminal system, or the international legal fraternity, or the international legal system should be reformed to deal with countries that make criminal laws. That's a criminal law. Nazi Germany was a criminal regime because it killed people innocently. Yes, the Nazi regime was a criminal regime. The laws, most of the laws they passed were criminal. That is what you need to understand. Why did they do them? Based on, why did they pass those laws? It's because they had power. You know, when you have power, you can do anything. And people think that it's only the Nazis who killed Jews. Oh my goodness. Many people killed Jews in history. Nebuchadnezzar, even they would throw children off the buildings and their skulls splatter. Yes, the ancient kingdoms, they were merciless. Why? Human nature. Human nature. The nature to hate someone different from you. How do you tame that nature? Education. Did you know something? Religion is education. That's why children go to Sunday school. They are going to be educated. So, if you want to make people peaceful, educate them with peace. If you want people to love one another and to understand one another, educate them. So far, I can say the world is better than it was in the ancient times because people have gone to school. A large number of people have gone to school, and the schools, even though they may have been religious, there's a temperament of, they have tampered education with science. So most children, when they go to school, they are not really bothered about religion. You know, they listen to it and like, it's a story. But if the child is focused to become a doctor, an engineer, they will focus on that topic, mathematics, physics, because they want to be that thing. And they have been told in school, if you don't read that thing, you won't become that. So that's what happens. So the advantage of that is the child does not focus on hating people. Yes, hating people. So this is why most guys, if you meet friends, like I have many friends, straight friends, and they when they talk about gay people, they don't, some of them, you know, it's very weird. It's ambivalent. Some people will just say, oh, he's gay, and it's not like they are homophobic. It's just like, okay, that's weird. I don't know how that works, you see. But others are homophobic. Now the ones who are homophobic are the ones who are fed with hate. That's the problem. So, but I love the world right now. It's a bit understanding, and it's the sign that education is working. Now, more is coming, and more should be done. Um, and even in the LGBTQ education system, because we have an education system, we need to know how to talk to straight people, you know, and take time to have systems. Go and give schools a syllabus on discussing about LGBTQ children, so that they don't bully them, they don't attack them. Yes, the world is still in building. Work, what do they say? Men at work. Yes, we are still building the world. And when you're building the world, there is a lot of mess. It's construction mess and all of that. So that's where we are right now. There's a lot of chaos. You can even feel it. No, people are not being together. People not understanding each other. It's chaos, but it's ending. Okay, like guys, enough talking. We have discussed about this is the nature of human beings. Okay, you've asked me a question. What are you? Do you have a religion? um, I have a religion. My religion is connecting to the power that be, the cosmic powers that be. And I connect it through Christianity. And not, please understand, liberal Christianity, not a conservative Christianity. I am a liberal Christian. I get to the cosmic world that way. And and not just liberal, but interfaith, meaning I believe all religions are right. Not right, no, that's a wrong word. All religions seek the same power. All. Yes, all. And so you as a human being, you are free to choose which religion you want to take you to that power. Now you have to understand something about power. Power is both positive and negative and neutral. Let me show you. You see, this is neutral, or the earth, or I think life, whichever. I forget my electricity. And then this is okay, let's just say this is positive, this is negative, and this is a neutral one. It neutralizes three parts. The number three is very important in science, and in electricity is very important, because what is that sign? It's the sign that power is positive, negative, and neutral. So what does this mean? Anything you worship has those elements. Even God is negative. There is no God that is not positive. That is only positive. None. There is no God that is only negative. We are all, and we are like that. Even my personality, there are some things you will like and some things you won't like about me, and some things you don't even care. Do whatever you want. So that is human nature. Everybody, everyone. Now sometimes the negative can outweigh the positive, and sometimes the positive can outweigh the negative, and sometimes the positive is equal to the negative, and sometimes you have what is called quantum charges, whereby you measure the charges, the polarity, the charges. Sometimes you can be 68.8% negative. Yes, because you can, right now with quantum science, we can measure everything. Everything that exists can be measured. So that's what you need to understand. So please don't complain and say, I hear people, this negative energy. It's part of life. That's the world. And in fact, life is filled with positive and negatives and neutral moments. So sometimes when you put yourself in a situation, there are some situations, life is filled with very many negative moments. And that's still life. And then for some, they have positive moments. That's life. And that's what I tell people, like the black community in America. You know, they were very strong because they had generations who lived in negative moments forever. They died in a negative moment. They born in slavery, died in slavery. You see? Yes, that's life. And so, what happened? What did the blacks do? They fought. And they didn't fight physically. Yes. They they stood up for their rights. Remember, Martin Luther King believed in non-violence because of Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi lived in apartheid South Africa and was appalled at the system that was there. And it's what inspired him to fight the British colonialists in India. And he believed in non-violence because he realized if you are violent, you will die in the struggle and you will not be able to save your people. So they believed in non-violence. Now, Malcolm X did not believe in non-violence. And he was violent because he felt that the system can't change when you are very kind to it. That's the Jesus philosophy. Jesus believed you should love your enemy for you to because God loves his enemy. you know and but that is not Moses. Moses doesn't believe in that. Moses says, if your enemy attacks you, attack him. So that's what you need to know. The theology of Moses was violent, and the theology of Jesus was violent. Now, both theologies can be justified. That's what you need to understand. Relativity. You see, to Moses, violence was okay. To Jesus, violence was not okay. What's that? Moral relativity. So that's what you need to understand. So what are we building? That's why always be in a political party or a church or a mosque or a movement that has a vision, and if you don't want a non-violent vision, subscribe to it. The world is going non-violent. Yes, today violence is not allowed in the world. Yes, so that's what you need to understand about. And when I mean violence, I mean physical violence. Yes, not aggression. There's mental aggression. There's there's what you call bombasticness. You go there, you protest. You see the protest movement. That one is what you call, it is it's aggressive, and sometimes we may call it violent, but it's not violent. It's not physically violent. It doesn't kill people. Yes, it doesn't kill people. It is just loud. So that's aggression, you know, and it's allowed because the Constitution says freedom of expression is allowed. What is not allowed is not. They don't say freedom of killing. Yes, freedom of violence. There's no freedom of violence. There's freedom of expression. Yes, that's what you need to understand. So I think we're done. That was to show you human nature the animalistic side of human beings. And as let's summarize, human beings naturally are more naturally inclined to hate than to love, because we like staying with our kind, people who agree with us, people who look like us, people who enjoy the same things we enjoy. We like staying with them. So, because of that, when we meet people who are different, if you are not schooled or you have not trained your mind, remember, to be schooled doesn't mean to go to a building. It means even self-education is schooling. If you're not schooled, 80% you'll react in an animalistic way. And you may either fear the person, you may run away from the person, or you may fight the person. So the one we are dealing with is fighting. You are not supposed to fight someone who is different from you. Naturally, you are inclined to fight. But even if you're naturally inclined to fight, you can be naturally inclined to love. And how do you do that? Education is the key. Educate people to learn how to live with different people. Yes, the earlier the better. The earlier, the better. Educate people about diversity. That is biodiversity. Teach it to people. Teach it. Teach it. Sexual diversity. Teach it from school. Yes. Teach it. Teach diversity, racial diversity. Teach it. And very soon, governments will take education so seriously, they will demand the syllabuses of even private schools. Yes. I'm telling you. I'm going to do another video in Rex Arthur about the constitutional crisis the world is in. You know, there's freedom of expression and freedom of association and freedom of association. So you can start a school, a religious school, without the government. But there's a problem. What are you teaching in that school? So already, good enough, some governments have hired people who go and are in those schools, and they study and they look at how the system is. If the system is good, or it's not teaching terrorism, it's okay. Like what has happened in the West is good. The mosques have very many people who work for the government. It's okay to make sure there is no diatribe coming out from the imam's mouth. And that's what has... Have you noticed terrorist attacks have become fewer? Yes. Look what happened in New Zealand. Did the Muslims protest? They didn't. Muslims didn't protest. What did they say? They even helped one another. And people even went to help the Muslims. Even the New Zealand Prime Minister went to visit them and say sorry. You see, the world has changed. It's changing. So we are very happy that the world is going that way. And we keep it up. Continue educating one another. So what am I trying to say? In the long run, humans will love one another. They will have killed the animalistic tendency to hate. Yes, it's animalistic. Even babies, look at them. They are very picky. A baby does not trust a stranger. Yes. It's animalistic. You don't trust a stranger. Do you know where they're going to take you? Babies don't cry with their mothers. they or their fathers, they cry when they're with a stranger because they don't know them. And that's the animalistic tendency to fear. And so it happens when somebody meets somebody and they say, I'm gay. You see, that's the fear. I've met a stranger. And then when it's skin color, you look at a white person, you know this is a different person from me because we don't look the same. Oh, I can talk about, we're going to talk about the brain and how we process stuff and how you learn to program yourself to be an understanding human being. Is wonderful. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us.